Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here with yet another weather forecasting and discussion video. I didn't know I was going to be back so soon, but we have the potential for a strong tornado outbreak to potentially unfold this upcoming Sunday. There's quite a bit of model uncertainty, which we will get into in today's video. And then we're going to go over what's going to happen after this, because it looks like we'll stay in a very active pattern, especially for severe weather. Let's start off with your day one risk here. We are talking about a tornado-driven slight risk here. Or at least there has been a couple of tornadoes today, I believe, if not a couple tornado warnings. But your slight risk there across portions of western Louisiana, then your marginal risk all around. And I'll just show you our tornado risk really quick. We have a lot to go over in today's video, so I gotta go pretty quickly. You can see here your nice 5% here that has been issued. And now moving on to tomorrow, where we have a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk here ongoing. This is going to be for the threat of damaging winds, large hail, and possibly some tornadic activity. If we can get any storms to form and break through a surface layer of warm and dry air, that is the key. And you're going to go ahead and see this here with your tornado risk. We do only have a 2%. That could get increased if confidence increases. Some wind, definitely some hail, potentially in excess of 2 inches in diameter near Wichita here. We really got to watch that. And here we go into Sunday. We're talking about an extremely large risk for severe weather. Big ol' enhanced risk here right in the middle of it all. But yeah, take a look at this. As I quickly zoom in certain areas here, we're talking about portions of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky here. I might miss a couple areas. There's a lot here. West Virginia, Tennessee, Arkansas, portions of Oklahoma as well, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas. This is an excruciatingly large risk area here, let me tell you what. And this will be mainly for the threat of damaging winds, large hail, and possibly a couple strong tornadoes in this risk as well, if not maybe a tornado outbreak. Moving in on to Monday, this is a continuation of the risk. You could see, again, a very large risk area. This is ridiculous. We're talking about portions of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York here, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland in here somewhere. It's just so many areas. Virginia, West Virginia. We're talking it down to Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, and Louisiana. Just, this is absolutely ridiculous here, is it not? So, we're going to be talking about damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes being your main risk concerns through these areas. I do think the slight risk will be shrunk, though, but we'll have to wait and see. And into your Wednesday risk here, this is potentially going to be a very big day, potentially a big-time tornado outbreak, if the models stay the way they are right now. But you can see, again, a very large area under fire. We'll look at this later in the video. Let's first take a broad general overview with your European model. You're going to see storms begin to try to fire up tomorrow evening. Some of them are able to break through our capping layer here. We have some storms really not looking too strong, though. They push on through and then die out quickly. Moving into Sunday here, we see scattered storms developing everywhere, and definitely your severe weather risk looks pretty messy. I'm going to be honest, this is a low-res model, though, so don't take it too seriously. Also, big-time snowstorm up here tomorrow and Sunday. Please watch that. Into Minnesota and Wisconsin could see quite a lot of snow. Going into Monday, you could see your severe risk really tries to ramp back up. It's going to be difficult to tell what's going to happen with this, but we'll have to wait and see. Going into, look at that low pressure system here. That is pretty strong. Going into April 2nd, this is your Wednesday risk. My goodness, definitely a lot of supercells across the board here, really firing off some very intense storms further south. Very strong low pressure system accompanied with it. You definitely have a strong, potentially intense long track tornado risk out ahead. Your prefrontal supercells here. Really gotta watch this threat, I'm telling you what. And throughout the night, really looking intense here. That could be a big day. Moving into Thursday, another potentially big day. And then look at Friday. Holy cow, more supercells. Then Saturday, then Sunday, then Monday, then Tuesday, then so on and so forth. Active times coming right up. Now that is just one model, so don't fully trust it. Your GFS, same thing, big snowstorm, even an ice storm, we gotta talk about that too across some areas. And then as we move into our severe weather risk, yeah, you get the idea. And going further out, another potential snowstorm, but we're a little far out in time. What about tomorrow's risk here? We're going to look at our HRRR model for Saturday, and you can see right off the bat, very strong supercell firing up near the Lincoln, Nebraska area in Omaha. Very uncertain. Please do not trust this. We've had just a lot of bouncing around with our models lately. Our weather balloon data from the northern plains going into your Rockies regions have been suspended due to recent National Weather Service employee cuts. So, yeah, models are already not looking the greatest because of that. So hopefully we can get those issues resolved because we need this model data now. Well, we're talking about our severe weather actually going into tomorrow night, really getting a little more linear in mode going into Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, going in around 7 to 10 p.m. tomorrow night, and then continuing off further to the east. You can see your line moving further east. Again, nothing too significant, but damaging winds, large hail, possibly a tornado, or a strong one is the main concern. How about your ingredients here? We're taking a look at pretty modest dew point values in your low 60s. Maybe some isolated mid-60s in there, so dew point department is certainly a green check mark. Your storm energy here, definitely a lot to work with, but in your hashed areas here, this is convective inhibition. So this is basically your warm and dry air aloft, really in your low to mid-levels, which could prevent storms from forming. Imagine an updraft going here, and it can't push through this layer. So that's basically what we're talking about with that. Your 0 to 1 kilometer helicity here, this is important for looking at tornadic activity. You can definitely see in your golds and your reds. Where your reds are, there's a chance for a strong tornado. Again, everything has to come perfect for this to work, so definitely do not discount that risk area. Into your supercell composite values, if you smash every parameter together, this is what you get. You can see Oklahoma is cooking up a storm down there with your heightened values. And then across these areas into your reds and your oranges, not really too high, but still high enough to sustain activity. Significant tornado parameters are as follows in your greens and yellows, so probably not much in the way of activity. That's because, again, of all your dry and warm air aloft. Now let's take a look at Sunday here. This is your NAM 3 kilometer model, and not really an accurate model, but it's all we have right now. Let's take a look at this here going into Arkansas. Tons of supercells begin to fire off going into Sunday evening and Sunday night. Some of your messier linear structures firing up here, more supercells back here. And even a couple of prefrontal supercells right here. This would have a strong tornado risk, potentially a long track tornado risk. Again, if everything comes together. You know, think about as if you're making a pizza. You need all the right ingredients to come together. And if we don't have all the ingredients, if we're missing one, well, we're not really going to bake a good pizza, are we? So definitely quite important here to monitor. And then more stuff overnight. Here it is further to your east here. You could see definitely some supercells that try and fire off going into your afternoon hours through southern Indiana. Anything out in front of the line is going to have a strong tornado threat. Up here, definitely looking at a line of broken supercells. That could be significant. So again, you just see how large this area is. I mean, you're seeing multiple rounds of severe weather on Sunday just because of your wide open warm sector. Now, how about your trough ejection on your RAP model? So you have your mid-levels here in terms of wind. You could see your trough clear as day. It does, in fact, have a bit of a negative tilt to it as well. So this could definitely help in sustaining severe weather and sustaining your tornado risk as well. And as we transverse here across the Ohio Valley, against flatten out a bit, but you could still see or negatively tilted, really at this point, a short wave. It's a lot weaker, but still, you got that negative tilt, severe weather will sustain. Your lower level flow here, this is, I think, underdoing it a bit. Not the most sustainable and suitable environment for tornadic activity. I'm tripping over my words today, my goodness. But you could clearly see you need at least your gold colors here to sustain tornadic activity. And we have some of it, but kind of lackluster, right? But your dew points certainly look better here in your mid 60s, even some upper 60s trying to sneak on through. Further south in your low to mid 70s across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, that is going to be a hot zone to watch out for. If we have enough southerly flow at the surface, we could see a strong tornado risk that far south as well. Your storm energy here goes as follows. A very wide open warm sector, 4,000 storm energy. That is definitely suitable enough for severe weather. And going further north, you can't forget up here up to 1,000 to 2,000. And you only need 1,000 to sustain severe weather. Your helicity here at 0 to 1 kilometer. Again, very splotchy. Anything in your greens is suitable for tornadoes. And you really don't see too much of that, just kind of in isolated areas. So that could be a potential limiting factor. Having a weaker trough moving through, maybe not getting your wind shear, flowing out of your south might be a bit of a concern. And one last thing, your supercell composite parameters here. You could see some elevated colors in your yellows, oranges, and even some reds further south. So yeah, this model isn't really showing much in the way of a big outbreak. But your GFS model, on the other hand, yeah, it looks a little bit stronger with your trough projection, right? Still negatively tilted, so again, still looking quite favorable here. I'm not going to lie. Moving on through, your wind shear is so much better, having your yellows and your reds up to 50 knots of lower level flow in some areas. So certainly much better in your GFS, even a bit of a meso-low forming in Kentucky. Any prefrontal supercells that become discrete are going to go ham in this environment. And your dew points here even better, and we're going further north here into southern Michigan into your low 60s. So certainly very nice environment here if you want an outbreak. And yeah, your storm energy, again, this will not be an issue. Storm energy will be abundant across this whole area. So again, the only thing is going to be wind shear. That's what we need to watch. And then your helicity here, much better in your greens and yellows, widespread, even some red colors here. So a strong tornado risk, again, evident on this particular model. Supercell composite parameters, even getting on some of your reds. So yeah, if you want to see an outbreak, then you'd want to see the GFS model verify. And let's take a look at your European model here. For what's in the longer range, you could see another trough ejection here pushing through, or another shortwave, I should say, into Monday. That I can't really tell what tilt it has, to be honest. It's really embedded. But we could see severe weather out of this. There's so much uncertainty. It's so nebulous right now that I genuinely don't really want to talk about it much. But again, I might have to make a video tomorrow on this for more short-range guidance, so stay tuned for that. Here, though, is your really large, elongated trough. This is what's going to be responsible for Wednesday's threat, if not even an outbreak. Let's take a look at this here. Look at that. Clear as day. Very intense flow. You got your low here, negatively tilted trough ejection, a very large one. And you could bet your bottom dollar there will be an outbreak ahead of this in your right exit region. If this model verifies, we don't really know that yet, right? And how much storm energy could be expected? You could already see it advecting north rapidly. Could potentially see a couple supercells in Oklahoma on Tuesday. We really need to watch that, because if we do have that warm, dry air layer break up a bit, Tuesday could be a big day. So we'll just have to see. But Wednesday, wide open warm sector. I mean, you got 1,000 Cape going all the way into central Wisconsin. So this could be another widespread event here. And just, yeah, look at this. And then the days to follow up, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Don't worry. Right here on your European model, as we continue through your trough ejections that move through, you can see another, oh gosh, look at that bowling ball trough there. That is insane. It does appear to not be quite as negatively tilted. You can see it is positively tilted, but you'll still get severe weather ahead of it. Potentially going into Thursday here, I just wanted to note you got your remnants, but Friday, Maybe a little bit of severe weather ahead of that. Saturday, same thing. Look at that. Just absolutely ridiculous here. It looks like a boomerang, doesn't it? And you can see here, kind of still a positively tilted trough. This part here might be leaning a little more this way, though. We'll have to wait and see for this. But definitely could have a severe weather risk, maybe going to Saturday and Sunday. There's so much uncertainty, but you can see your flow super consistent that there will be severe weather very frequently next week, potentially even a few outbreaks. And then as we continue through, that might break up going into mid-April. Fingers crossed. You're not going to want any more of this after mid-April, let me tell you. How about your lower level flow and your temperatures here? You can see it's going to be warm across the south, and here we go. All your flags here are 50 plus knots of lower level flow. You can see a pretty large area here that's present, and especially here, really got to make sure that capping does not break across Oklahoma. That could be a big issue. And as we move into Wednesday, very present belt of lower level flow across a large area. You look at that, and then your warmer temperatures, we just really have to monitor this. Going on into Thursday, have a little bit less, but still isolated 50 knot areas, and you could just see your flags. They keep popping up out of nowhere. That is definitely going to be a thing here, and just continues on through this. Please do not trust this. That is not a forecast in the slightest. You will have sufficient amounts of moisture advecting ahead of it too. My goodness, that is going to be a serious concern. Going into Thursday, even higher into your low 70 dew points here. Into Friday, low to mid 70 dew points. Look at just how rich your environment is. I mean, this is definitely going to be supportive of severe weather, if not severe weather outbreaks in that kind of general time frame here. And of course, we're going to look at our storm energy. A lot of it is present. Going into Thursday, holy cow, up to 4,000. This is your most unstable cape, so it is a little important to note these numbers are a little inflated and overdone, so please be careful there. Probably closer to 3,000. But definitely quite a lot of energy. Very rich environment down here. My goodness. Even peaking upwards of 4,500. Yeah, this is for sure going to be a spring-like pattern across a widespread area. And you can see finally maybe moving out, going into the 8th and the 9th, but that is not a forecast. How about your GFS model? Yeah, most certainly. Look at Wednesday. Very negatively tilted trough here. Big time tornado outbreak across these areas on this particular model. I have a feeling we could see a tornado outbreak, especially on Wednesday, as confidence is continuing to increase on that. So we really got to see. Into Thursday here, just have a present flow here. Going into Friday, more flow. Saturday, you get the idea. This does cause a weird little cutoff low out here. Definitely do not be trusting this as not a forecast in the slightest. And it differs from our European model, likely caused due to the lack of weather balloon data, unfortunately, from these areas up through here. Hopefully we can get this data restored, because we're in the springtime now. We're going to have trough ejection after trough ejection, and we need our models to be on their A game. You're also in your spring forecast barrier as well, but besides the point, we need our data. Going into Tuesday night here, you could definitely see your lower level flow with this system. Continuing on through into Wednesday. Wow, that is a powerful bomb cyclone up there. This is as textbook as it gets. Turn to page 120 in your textbooks here. Yeah. We really hope this doesn't happen. This would be very serious, and possibly one of our more noteworthy outbreaks of the year. This continues on through, definitely talking about a serious situation unfolding. Going into Thursday, your lower level jets a little less. You could just see, high pressure here. Your flow guiding along like this. Tons of moisture vecting out of the Gulf, being flung into Dixie Alley. Could imagine a lot of storm activity. Your storm energy here. It doesn't agree on your Tuesday threat, but Wednesday it sure does. Cross Dixie Alley, not as far north. This area up here being left out this time. So again, still some uncertainties, right? Pretty widespread across these areas though. With your 3,000 Cape. Going into Thursday, same thing. Friday, basically the same thing. And yeah, I mean, just day after day after day of severe weather. Supercell composites, we gotta go through this a little faster. Come on here. We have some red colors. That is pretty significant there. That blasts on through Dixie Alley out of our way. And could see, there's also nocturnal events that could be occurring as well. And look at that. Some of your hot pink colors here along your stationary boundary. That could potentially promote a strong tornado risk, but we're a little far out for more details, especially for Thursday. And then here you go, Friday, and then Saturday. Well, luckily, it should hopefully, fingers crossed, die out by then. Whew, that was a ton of data to go over. It may have gotten a little bit boring, but we just have so much to analyze. This is ridiculous, right? This is the largest risk area I have ever had to map out before. This is just... it's absurd. Welcome to spring. I hope you enjoy your stay. That being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and maybe even leave a comment in the section below letting me know how well I've done this video or anything you want me to do different in the future, and I will try my best to read the comments. I don't know why I haven't been doing that lately. And please just keep an eye on that severe weather, that multi-day, even a full week of severe weather coming right up. Have a wonderful night, everyone.